Hey guys, Sneaky Snake here, brothers in arms, World of Warships, and in today's video, we're going to take a look at a match that I had in the Shimakaze, the Tier 10 Japanese destroyer. I'm divvied up with my buddy Stock Nagato, and he's playing in the Midway, the Tier 10 American aircraft carrier, and we're playing some Epicenter here on the map Tears of the Desert. Now, this replay isn't necessarily focused on the Shimakaze gameplay that you're going to see. The ending to this game is, without question, the greatest ending that I've ever been a part of. It might not be the best ending that you've ever seen, whether one that you were in or saw on YouTube elsewhere, but this ending to this game is absolutely hilarious, and hopefully you guys will suffer with me vicariously as you watch my Shimakaze gameplay, because of course we're in a matchmaking with the carrier, and we all know what carriers... we all know what carriers are capable of doing to destroyers these days, but certain people out there, they think that just dodging is the best way to deal with the state of the carriers right now. But that's okay. So definitely suffer with me, guys, as we enjoy this replay, and then absolutely this ending is going to knock you off your feet. So, as a matter of fact, the first time that the carrier comes in, I pull a hard right and I go all stop, and I actually manage to dodge the rocket attack. How about that? Maybe if I just do this every single time that the carrier attacks me, we'll be okay. So I decide to try it again, and oh my god, look at that! I just dodged 2 fucking times. I don't care that I sweared, I just dodged 2 times, boys. Let's go. Carriers are not OP. Everyone else needs to get good in DDs. Kappa. Okay. So, sorry about that. I got a little sidetracked right there. There we go. That's more like it. Taking about 4,500 points of damage. Everything blows up. My engine gets knocked out. That's the kind of carrier gameplay that we're all used to seeing here in World of Warships. Alright. Focus. I've been a bit unprofessional today. It's okay. So, at this stage of the game, obviously you can see that there is an enemy ship in the center of the cap. That's why the enemy team is picking up the center and the second one at this moment. Now, what I'm trying to do is get down to the southeastern part of the map, and I want to try to get vision on the enemy ships that may or may not be coming down from their spawn to their on a southerly course. So I'm trying to get out here. Unfortunately, however, the enemy Hakuryu keeps on sending his planes out over here. Now, there is another friendly destroyer over there, southeast of me, the Z-52, that's going to be getting harassed by this carrier. But you can see that this guy, he knows exactly the relative area that I'm in, and he decided to do the smart play and drop a fighter aircraft within 3 kilometers of my position. So obviously at this point I really do have to smoke up. I really can't sit here and continuously get spotted by those planes. So what I'm going to do is, again, use my smoke screen for myself and sit here in the smoke, and hopefully my AA will be able to shoot down some of the planes that are around me. And I am able to shoot down 5 of those enemy fighters, so that's all fine and dandy. So for the time being, I have been able to get away from the carrier aircraft. It's just the problem is that since those rocket planes are so deadly, you really do have to pop your smokes for yourself a lot more often these days, and it makes it very difficult to be aggressive in your destroyers, because now, obviously, I still have to wait over 2 minutes for my smoke screen to come back, and the last puff of mine is only going to be here for another minute and 10 seconds, so I'm going to have an entire minute worth of time where I'm not going to have my smoke screen available and ready to go should the need arise. So basically, I also popped my smoke screen in a very bad position. I have no angles for any torpedo attacks, and basically it was done simply to give myself relief from the air detection. And of course you can see with how fast the carrier planes come back, obviously those rocket planes are 5 kilometers in closing, and it's not going to be a very good day for me, so there's really not much that I can do at this point. Obviously, the Hakuryu is going to want to kill me. I turn my AA back on just to see if I'm going to be able to shoot down any planes. I know that that might seem like a little bit of a joke, but you got to try and help yourself out. But obviously, this guy's coming in on the attack run, and I'm going to do my best to try to dodge and get out of the way of his rocket strike. But even if you are running parallel to his course that he's going, you can see that the dispersion on those rocket planes is just very, very good. He manages to get a fire on me and does about 4,000 points of damage once again. I have to use my damage control because the Tashkent was also shooting at me too, and I'm trying to dodge all of the incoming fire that's coming my way, but things are not looking very good for me right now. He gets off his next rocket strike and takes me down to 2,000 hit points, and obviously I'm still detected. All of those ships that are back behind me are throwing pot shots my way. And at this point, I realize, well, there's really nothing that I'm going to be able to do for the rest of this game unless I'm able to somehow get back to my team and get within AA cover. You can see that I try to dodge in once again, and fortunately, I do manage to do so for the third time. But let's be honest, a really good carrier player is going to make that drop about 9 times out of 10, if not more. So I got lucky right there, and my AA does go to town on those enemy fighters. So once again, temporarily, I am away from the carrier's planes. My buddy, Stock Nagato, actually decided to put some fighter planes out in front of me so that I can get back near his position. You can see that he's dropped 2 squadrons on the minimap just for me, because I'm sure that that enemy Hakuryu is going to be bringing back more rocket planes, and that's exactly what is happening. So I'm just trying to make it out of Dodge. Hopefully he will not decide to drive his rocket planes through both of those AA, or not the AA, the fighter squadrons, but that's exactly what he's trying to do because he's very thirsty for this kill and he wants it. Obviously, at this point, I have my AA turned off because I do not want him to detect me. And fortunately, those fighter aircraft are easily able to take care of those rocket planes. So for the time being, I'm going to be okay. You can see now I'm closer to not just my friendly carrier, but I'm also moving in next to my friendly battleships as I'm going to try to make a play on this other side of the map. But as you saw right there, in roughly 5 minutes, that carrier was able to chunk me down to only 2,000 hit points. I have shot down 12 planes, but I haven't done a lick for this game, and that's really the big problem right now. I'm not going to go too much further on with the whole carrier thing, but to say that carriers are balanced and to say that dodging is the best way to counter getting dropped on, it's an absolutely ludicrous statement. It's uneducated at all. It's almost as if whoever holds that opinion is saying it simply to troll or just to be an asshole, because it has no weight, it makes no sense, and it's pretty preposterous if you ask me. So, anyway, we're going to get back to the gameplay. I don't want to sit here and really make a video about the carriers because I could probably make one very similar to the style that Puddin does with his Puddin talk, and it would not be very nice. So anyway, we're going to go get on the middle part of the objective because our team is rapidly losing points. Both sides have lost 2 ships. However, most importantly, our side has lost 2 destroyers while the enemy team has all 3 of them. And like I've said earlier, I'm only at 2,000 hit points, so it's going to be very difficult for me to have a positive impact on the game. But just because I got chunked down early doesn't mean that you can't still go about and do some good stuff for your team. Now you can see that unfortunately those planes that were flying over me did detect me very briefly, but because I'm surrounded by so many other ships, the power of the concentrated AA was actually able to help me out. So with that being the case, I decided to drop my skill wall into that smokescreen that is holding the enemy Tashkent, that Soviet destroyer. Now, obviously, taking a lot of damage, my adrenaline rush is kicking in, and I only have to wait about a minute and a half to get my torpedoes back. So even though I did take a lot of damage and things aren't looking too good for me right now, it's actually not as bad as one might think, because as long as I can stay close to my friends and as long as I use my smoke screens correctly, I shouldn't really get surprised by the next potential carrier strike that could come in on me. You can see right there his next bomber wave is at 7 kilometers, so obviously at this point in the game my finger was basically gliding over the T key ready to pop my smoke if the need arises. But of course that guy is going away now, so very fortunately for me, I'm going to try to move up and see if I can get this enemy Shimakaze that's detected, because right now the center portion of the cap is being contested, and obviously it's not the Tashkent, so that means that the enemy Shimakaze is most likely in the vicinity of the objective area. So right now I'm going to preemptively pop my smoke screen before enemy planes could potentially come back. I do get detected very, very briefly, but now I am A-okay. So I'm going to start peppering this enemy Kurfürst with some high explosive shot as he is turning in. I'm also backing up to try to get a lane to drop my torpedoes on, because I'm guessing that that guy is going to turn in, because he's not going to want to turn broadside to all of my friendly battleships that are off to my port side. So you can see here I'm continuing to back up. My torpedoes are ready to go, and I'm going to make a very anticipatory drop right here. You can see that he's starting to turn in, so I decided to drop my torpedoes well to the left of the gray aiming indicator. And again, the reason being is that I want to potentially land torpedoes on this guy if he turns fully to his starboard. And it looks like he is getting ready to commit to this turn, which is very good for me because those torpedoes should be able to find the mark. Unfortunately, the leftmost torpedo does hit the island, but it does appear that I am going to get at least one hit on that Kurfürst, which will obviously come in handy. But unfortunately, he's only 6.5 kilometers away, and his hydroacoustic is 6 kilometers flat. So hopefully this guy's going to be kicking the bucket here pretty soon. I do manage to get that one torpedo on him. The Alsace down there is only on 3,700 hit points, and Stock Nagato is able to secure that kill, which is fantastic. So we're still not out of it. We've lost 5 ships, but the enemy team has lost 4, and this is when the Shimakaze decides to come around the corner. Now, fortunately for me, he is out of my assured detectability range shooting in smoke, so I am able to pepper a lot of really good damage into him. 4,200 on that last salvo. Some monster damage strikes you can get. He does blind fire back at me and almost kills me as he puts me down to 229 hit points, but fortunately, I am able to get the killing shot on him. And also, fortunately, the Kurfürst decided to turn a little bit more to his starboard, and right there as I was engaging the Shima, he was only 6 kilometers away, so I was virtually within his hydroacoustic, but somehow I was able to not get detected right there. And also, I did get detected as I went out on my smoke screen very, very briefly. I forgot that I had my AA turned on, and unfortunately, while I did shoot down a plane, I was detected for a very brief amount of time, and I was thinking that maybe the Kurfürst's secondaries would have had enough time to be able to move in on me, but also the enemy Mogami is coming around the corner. He's at 5.3 kilometers. I'm sitting here at 5.4 away from him right now. I need to get away from this Mogami. I get detected for a brief split second, but again, fortunately, that Kurfürst's secondaries were not able to target me in time. And also, Stock Nagato is able to get the kill on that Japanese cruiser. So, again, we're still not out of the woods yet, but things are looking a little bit better than they were a couple minutes ago. It also looks like I'm going to get one torpedo there on the Kurfürst. For the second time, one torpedo slamming into the side of the island before it's able to reach him. He would be dead by now if both of those torpedoes did not find the island hitbox. But once again, I've driven that battleship away from the gap, and now I'm going to circle back around and get on. But unfortunately for me, I have 0 hit points to play with. Any high explosive hit that does not hit one of my modules from any ship left in the game is going to kill me. So I really, really cannot engage anything unless I'm fully covered in my smoke. At least somewhat safely. So I wait until the smoke screen covers me fully before I decide to start engaging this enemy Kurfürst. And probably shouldn't be shooting AP here. Destroyer AP is effective on battleships if you're, say, within 8 to 7 kilometers. That's when you start to get the pretty consistent pens above the belt. So I probably should be shooting high explosive right here to try and set the fires. But maybe at this point I just wasn't thinking about it, because I was more worried about my own safety. Obviously, you saw those carrier torpedo bombers come in, and he does manage to get 2 hits on the Kurfürst, so looks like my buddy over there is going to go kick the bucket. Also, the other Shimakaze is trying to rush down my friend in the midway, but fortunately, I believe he's going to be able to fend off that attack. You can see that the Shimakaze decided to beach himself, turning to the right. He was probably trying to do that to get all of his torpedoes off on my friendly carrier, but you can see that he's now a sitting duck and he is going to kick the bucket. Unfortunately, however, the friendly Hindenburg is not doing this right at all, deciding to go completely bow on to an enemy Kurfürst. And while the Hindenburg does have the bow armor to be able to bounce or glance off the shells from the enemy Kurfürst, he's not in a kiting position. He's not utilizing all of his firepower. He's basically playing it like a Moskva, even though you really shouldn't be playing a Moskva like that all that much to begin with. But I was counting, kind of, on this guy to be able to get the kill on the Kurfürst, because he's only at 20,000 hit points, but unfortunately, that's not going to happen. My Hindenburg friend is going to go down. I think the next salvo that goes in on him is going to eat a lot. Yeah, there we go. He goes down to 2,000 hit points, so things are not looking good, and I decided that it's at this moment that maybe I should get out of my smoke screen. I only got 56 seconds left until the next one, but I really want to get a torpedo salvo off on this Montana, so as he goes undetected, I decide to drop some torpedoes at the corner of the island. I get 2 sets off, and now I'm going to basically about face and come back around. What I'm trying to do is get away from my smoke screen, because I'm going to imagine that the carrier is going to send his next squadron to where he saw that smoke screen as it just did dissipate. So I'm running for my life to the northwest, trying to get as far away as possible, and what do you know, here comes the rocket planes making a beeline for that smoke screen. I only got 22 seconds left until my next one comes up, so hopefully he does not manage to spot me here. He's at 3.1 kilometers, 3 kilometers away. My detection from the air is about 2.8, I think, so I miss it by only a couple hundred meters, which is very fortunate. I do get a torpedo to land on the enemy Montana, and at this point, I'm literally just spamming that T key, like, come on, come on, come on, let's go, before he decides to circle his planes back around. And it's right here that we actually managed to spot the Hakuryu, as I also flood out the enemy Montana. And this is where I decide to launch my set of torpedoes down the gap, hopefully trying to hit the Tashkent. But again, that Hakuryu was moving in, and if I'm a betting man, he's probably going to try to shove himself close enough to his friends where he can provide AA support, because of course, my Midway has been doing a lot of damage this game, so he's probably going to try to move in closer and provide some AA support. However, this is also a dual-purpose drop, because the Hindenburg is moving in on the torpedoes that I did drop as well, and at this point, I do make a little bit of a noob mistake, but I really want to get the torpedoes off on the Hakuryu, so I decide to move forward in my smoke screen. However, the Tashkent, he's no idiot, and he, of course, drops his 8-kilometer torpedoes into me. I'm trying to get the kill on the Hindenburg. I put him down to 2,700, and then I kick the bucket with those Tashkent torpedoes. But I really did not want to pass up the opportunity to get the torpedoes off on the Hakuryu, and if he stays on his present course and speed, he is actually going to run into those torpedoes. For the third time, unfortunately, I have PEDs that hit the side of the island. But if the Hakuryu keeps on his present course, he is going to run right into those, and wouldn't you know, that's exactly what's going to happen. So now my friendly carrier is actually going to have a pretty decent chance of clutching this game. The Hakuryu is going to take a lot of damage from the 4 torpedoes. There we go. He gets chunked down to 2,300 hit points. The Hindenburg was also below 3,000, and then of course that Tashkent, while he did have a decent chunk of HP left, that smoke screen is not going to last forever. So my buddy in the Midway is bringing in his torpedo planes. Obviously, that Hakuryu is trying to make a beeline for that smoke screen, but at this point, Stock Nagato is going to have so many torpedoes in the water that all he needs is one to fall on target, and he will manage to get the kill. So those torpedoes, very, very useful that I managed to get off. And even though the Tashkent did manage to kill me, I think it's safe to say at this point that now it's going to make this potentially a little bit easier for him to secure this win. So he manages to get the kill on the Hakuryu. So now we're in a 2 versus 1, and you can see that he makes the smart play by dropping his fighters out in front in case the Tashkent wants to come out of his smoke screen. He tries to make a last-second drop on the Tashkent with his rocket planes, but he realizes that was not going to happen, and he tried for it anyway, and he wasn't able to get it. But then he decides to go attack after the Hindenburg. The rocket planes come in, and he manages to pick up the Kraken Unleashed, and now he's going to launch his dive bombers. The Tashkent is moving in on 1,284 hit points. We're in a 1 versus 1 situation. Unfortunately, the Tashkent is able to HE pin him all along the side of the ship, so things are not looking too good. Stock Nagato needs to get this bomb drop in, or he is going to die. He's on 2,200 hit points. Here comes the drop. Unfortunately, it's a miss, but the Tashkent strays within range of the Midway's secondaries. Here comes the secondaries, putting him down to 96 HP. Who's going to win? Oh my goodness, he gets the kill, and that ends the game. Oh yeah, baby. Alrighty guys, taking a look at the post-battle results, 572,000 credits received and 12,500 total experience earned. This was my first win of the day. I picked up 146,000 damage off of 138 shell hits and 7 torpedoes. I shot down 17 planes, which is a new record for me in the Shimakaze. I sank 2 ships, had 1 solo base cap, and I had 5 base defense ribbons. Taking a look at the team score, Stock Nagato, what a man, 6 frags, 41 planes, 2,984 base XP, and the most ridiculous secondary midway kill on 100 hit points that I've ever seen in my life. I came in second with 2,500 base XP, so yeah, that was pretty freaking sweet. I don't know about you guys, but when that happened, when he managed to get the kill with the secondaries, for about 5 minutes, I could not control myself. I was laughing so hard. That was just pure bliss when that shit went down. So, I hope you guys enjoyed that replay. It was pretty slick, if I may say so. So, yeah. Anyway, this is the Sneaky Snake for BIA World of Warships signing off. Guys and gals, as always, thanks for the support that you give our channel. We appreciate all the time that you spend watching our content, and have a great day.